What's going on, guys? Zach here, GetWrestlingStrength.com, Underground Strength Gym. It is right now the postseason. So seeing this video in the off season, I want to give you a couple of training tips for what is recommended, the best thing to do for the wrestlers. So after the season, I like to take a month of doing lighter lifting, high repetition training. That helps reduce strain on the joints. They're not going very heavy. It creates a lot of blood flow, puts a lot of oxygen through the muscles, which helps with recovery. It also helps build up some of that lost muscle mass. The reason why I'm talking about that is some kids have coaches who force them to cut weight, or the parents force them to cut weight. And nothing really good comes about from that, meaning if you're cutting a lot of weight, you're destroying your strength gains if you did the proper training in the off season. So what we're gonna do is rebuild, put on extra muscle, and then after 3, 4, maybe even 5 weeks of that high rep training. What's high rep training? 8 reps, 10 reps and higher, 12, 15, 20 reps. So for example, our guys were squatting, and what I had them do was 5 sets, but sets of 6 to 8 on the back squat. Then they did high reps on their push-ups, recline row, pull-ups, doing a lot of basic bodybuilding work, but staying away from bodybuilding machines. Those reps are great for adding the muscle mass. Then, after I feel they've been given a bit of a mental and emotional break from that intensity and that aggressive style of training, then I can start getting them back to some of the heavier lifting. Sets of 5, sets of 3, sets of 2, still doing some of that rep work, but I outline a lot of this in Workouts That Win and any of the wrestling programs linked below. But basically, this 1 month after the season, it shouldn't be do nothing. If an athlete, if a wrestler wants to take a week off, I am good with that. More than a week off, really not necessary and shouldn't happen. The other thing you want to do is assess how the season went. We had some kids that this was their worst season ever because they cut so much weight, it basically canceled out their energy. It canceled out their strength. They felt more banged up, so they became more susceptible to these minor aches and pains and more injuries. And you can't be, I always say there's no such thing as weak and successful. So you want to implement training that makes you better. And even with our lifting, for example, at the college setting, I always tell the wrestlers, this training should not take away from wrestling practice, wrestling overall performance. It should feed your performance when you compete. So I'm always training them in such a way that is making them better. So cutting weight does not make you better. Immediate postseason, lifting heavy, banging heavy weights, that does not make you better from the gate. Give yourself a couple of weeks of repetition work, putting on that muscle mass, catching up on some sleep, increasing quality calories, quality nutrition, and then you can start having a better long-term plan for the off season, or just follow our training programs. So that's it. If you guys have questions about any kind of the training, number one, go to GetWrestlingStrength.com, subscribe to the newsletter. You could always reply to those emails. That is me writing those emails. I read them all, and oftentimes I respond to them with a YouTube video to give you a more in-depth answer. But the key is training all year round. So I don't want wrestlers who only train in the off season or try to crunch a lot of training into the preseason. September, October, November, wrestling season's coming. You're always ready, and that's why you're always training. There's gonna be some up and down phases, but the key is always be ready. How do you always get ready? You're always training, because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Peace out, guys. Make sure you subscribe to these videos, like, comment, or ask a question below. Share this video with any other wrestlers, wrestling coaches, wrestling parents. Talk to you later.